Leanne, good afternoon. You made it. We were about to send out a search party. Now, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
And your timing actually has turned out to be perfect. So looking forward to hearing from you.
The fact that I'm puffing because I had to race up 2 lots of stairs, so apologies. I was expecting to be able to sit there for a couple of minutes at least to catch my breath. Great. So you want me to start?
Yes, please.
Fantastic. Well, look, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to outline some of the key points in our submission, and I appreciate that you don't have that in front of you yet because it's yet been finalised. So we'll hopefully have that through to you by the end of the week. So at the start of this year, no one could obviously have predicted the immense impact that COVID-19 would have on the way of our life and the ability to conduct business. We currently find ourselves in the middle of a 100-year pandemic with our lives turned upside down in the space of a few months as we all continue to navigate an evolving environment without a blueprint and often at very short notice. While the local business community has responded to this unprecedented situation with agility and speed, it is also essential that the council acts in the same way to respond quickly to what is a very different new normal that we are all facing. It's also very important to recognise that for many businesses, there is still a very long road ahead of significant impact and disruption, which will require ongoing support and assistance to ensure these businesses not only survive, but recover and reposition themselves as the future becomes clearer. We are pleased that the Council has reviewed and reworked its original draft annual plan released in February. We also appreciate that there is a delicate balance between the investment needed for the city in terms of capital projects and infrastructure and reducing the cost to ratepayers. While we, like many ratepayers, would have welcomed a 0% rates increase based on the analysis presented, we agree with the Council that it appears a 0% rates increase would impact on the services and the key capital projects the Council would be able to deliver. In particular, we appreciate the Council's acknowledgement of the obligation to local business around the delivery of the Metro Sports Facility and the multi-use arena, which will make a significant difference to many central city businesses that were already struggling pre-COVID-19. Also that the knock-on effect of more delays would be significant and potentially a lot more costly in the long run. It would also not align with the central government's key focus on ramping up infrastructure projects to support jobs and future employment. Therefore, our preference is to keep the rates increase low, and we support the Council's recommendation of option 1. However, we would like to ask the question as to whether alternative funding options have been explored, as this could release more capital and keep rates and a debt at manageable level and would be a major help in financing new local infrastructure. If the timing is not right, as I appreciate given the current economic conditions is unlikely to be, we would like an assurance that this will remain on the table for periodic consideration moving forward. We'd also like to acknowledge the Council's reduction in operational spending, which will be welcomed by the business community, given that many organisations across our city are also taking similar planning. Other key points in our submission will include greater focus given to business and people attraction to increase the rate base and raise capital. Many of these points you've heard me say before. Greater communication and engagement with the local business community, including a stronger weighting given to business voice and decision making, and a dedicated local procurement policy and stronger, more vocal leadership position on keeping it local. While Council has provided an important pipeline of work for construction and contracting companies with the key capital projects, I would ask if more can be done by Council to support and encourage buying local through adjusting their procurement practices if needed. And an opportunity for the Council to take a very vocal national leadership position on this, challenging every other council across New Zealand to also prioritise local procurement. We'd also like to see appropriate resourcing and increased support for activation and city promotion, prioritisation and greater support for businesses and developers in the central city, and a commitment by Council to becoming an enabler for business, with a focus on streamlining processes and minimising compliance costs. We are aware of the challenges we're all facing in responding to the COVID-19 environment, especially as we are already in the process of rebuilding and regenerating after the Canterbury earthquakes. Not something that we speak of often outside of the city now, which is the wrong thing to do, but it's a reality for all of us. We are also aware that globally we are very much in the early days of a severe economic recession, which will continue to impact our city's future. To mitigate the impact, we believe local government needs to continue to work closely with and support the local business community to ensure a team of over 500,000 is able to not only survive but thrive in the future. as it's not just the financial livelihood, of course, of our community that this will help, it's also the mental health of those around us, as we know that regular employment plays a key role in overall well-being of our community and role modelling for future generations. As the home and voice of Canterbury business, we appreciate the opportunity to continue to work alongside all of you, the CEO and also the Mayor. Thank you for your time. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there questions? Sarah.
Thank you. Two quick questions. One on the local procurement, which is clearly something that's very topical at the moment. Sometimes that costs a little bit more, so has an impact on rates in that way. Is that worth it?
I think absolutely, because I think we have to question whether or not the opportunity cost of not supporting our local business community, if our local business community fail, then actually that has an impact on our overall rates. So our business community are a big provider of income for the council through the rates. So it's really important that we explore all avenues. Now, at times, of course, that they have to be competitive, but if it costs marginally more, I think we need to look at the big picture at the same time.
That's great. And we've got both the capital and the operational, and you're very keen for the capital stuff to keep going. The operational, you've congratulated us on our cuts, but actually the operational expenditure is often job related as well. Little things that people have talked about, like the pot plants, that's actually someone's job coming in and maintaining those. In what way do you see that as being related to that employment thing?
Yeah, and look, that's a really challenging situation, because I absolutely appreciate that if you are employing someone specifically to clean the plants within the building, I would like to think that that person can be maybe put to another use inside the organisation, or if it's a contractor, then maybe that contractor provides a different service
but
to
then we're not
other organisations.
saving the OPEX.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and look, I fully appreciate it is a balancing act. I get that, but I think if you've been able to explore and identify some cost savings, like every other organisation is doing across the city and across New Zealand, I think that's what I would like to see is to make sure that those cost savings can continue where possible. Yeah. Appreciating that there is a fine balance.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll take two really quick questions, one from Pauline, one from Yanni. Pauline.
Yeah, thanks, Leanne. You say that you support an option of a 0% rates increase.
No, I support the recommendation that the council have made, yes. Okay,
so that's effectively, we've had another submitter today pointing out that if you take inflation into account, that's effectively zero. So which makes it probably more challenging to have or more likely to have a higher increase next LTP or next year. So would you not therefore perhaps be looking more to support a higher increase this year?
Look, I think the current pain that the business community are going through right now, we have to take that into account. Now, what we don't want, one of the reasons we didn't support a zero rates increase and go against the council's recommendation is we fully appreciate that will mean an even bigger jump next year. We would far rather see small incremental increases if we have to have increases, as opposed to a zero this year and a massive jump next year, because there is no doubt that next year we are not going to be through COVID. For many of our businesses, and particularly for some of our sectors, until the borders reopen, this pain is going to be around for a very, very long time. So we have to do all that we can to balance that and support businesses. So I think it's about, the recommendation, it probably sits more comfortably where it is in terms of the recommendation that the council have put forward. I did consider the second option as well, but I think right now, at this current moment, I think the recommendation that the council
but you do
have made
recognise the council's place as an economic driver.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you. And then really quickly, Yanni.
I just wondered if if the Chamber had any view on the prioritisation of spending in the central city versus support for the suburbs in terms of local business activity.
You're talking specifically about business activity?
Yeah, we've heard some submitters today, I guess, concerned at the high cost of some very expensive projects in the central city, while businesses in the suburbs are struggling.
Sure. And look, there is always that balance again of supporting businesses across our whole community. What we do know is, in order to have a vibrant city, you need to have a vibrant heart. There's good research, and I know all of you know that, and we also know that many businesses that have invested significant amounts of money in the central city did so on the basis that there would be many anchor projects up and running now. Some of those are well and truly up and running, some of them are yet to be delivered upon. So I think it's really important that we make sure that the businesses that have invested in the central city, you know, the central city is looking really positive. We want to retain those businesses in the central city because we know if we lose them, it's going to be twice as hard to get them back. It's been hard enough to attract them in the first place. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't be supporting businesses in the suburbs as well, but I think the central city plays a different part in the city as a whole.
Great. Thank you very much indeed for some really considered comments this morning, and we look forward to your written submission landing later in the week. Thank you very much indeed. I'm sorry it's a bit later
than normal, but it's just a busy time.
It's a very unusual time. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.